is Dunc Holder on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Separated.
Getting plenty of questions on Twitter. People are watching the hourglass, flipping it over, wondering about Cameron Meredith. Of course, he signed an offer sheet with the Saints. The Bears have until tomorrow, I'm assuming end of business tomorrow, for the Bears to match the deal. Deal is reportedly 2 years, around $10 million, with a little more than half of that, actually a good bit more, almost at least $5 million, maybe a little more, reportedly guaranteed to Cameron Meredith. And I'm curious to see what happens. You know, deadlines spur action, and I can recall even last year or a couple of years ago that when the Bears and the Saints were jostling over Josh Hill, restricted free agent, that the Saints waited and waited, of course, in Saints fashion, and they up and matched it. And I was surprised that they did that at this time. So I'm wondering, with all the Bears moves and shaking at wide receiver, if they're going to end up matching. Look, they've got the money to do it. And I know that. And then you got Kendall Wright. I know he left via free agency. So I'm curious to see where the Bears go from here.
Well, they've got a lot of money committed to the wide receiver position, and that's the problem that I think the Bears have, because they went out in free agency and signed Allen Robinson and signed Taylor Gabriel. Now do you want to invest in your third or fourth receiver along with Kevin White, who was a first-round draft pick? I don't know, but they don't want to lose. Most general managers will tell you it's not a wise move to let good players get out of the building. If they've got a chance to match them, they've got the cap room. I'll be surprised if they don't.
Yeah, and just from people I've been talking to over the last day or so, that they would be surprised if Cameron Meredith left Chicago. And I honestly, I was a little surprised at that assumption, honestly.
But it's like what, you guys brought up yesterday because obviously that was my post from once I got back in the office after yesterday morning when I listened to the segment that you guys were talking about it. I mean, if you're going to be the number 4 option in Chicago and they're going to offer you the lowest tender at $1.9 million, and then you're going to go to 3 teams and the Saints going to offer you $10 million over 2 years with most of that guaranteed. I mean, that's hard to turn down. So,
just real quick, just for comparison, while we're on this subject, the Bears have $27 million of their cap already allocated to the wide receiver position this year. By comparison, the Saints have $11 million. And the most of that is going to Ted Ginn Jr., 4.5. So the Saints have a lot more, opportunity to spend on a receiver.
All right, well, pleased to be joined by Pro Football Hall of Famer, former Saints great, former Chiefs great, Willie Roaf. Willie, we appreciate you jumping on the show. Just figured, look, you're back on the social media train. You're back on Twitter at Willie_Roaf. I figured we'd catch up with you and let the world know you're back tweeting and back getting crazy. How have you been?
Yeah, doing good, man. I'm back on Instagram, too, at Willie_Roaf on Instagram and Twitter, man. So, I'm trying to keep up with the millennials a little bit.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, we're trying our best, too, and we're probably not doing the best job. But I've got a very serious question. How often do you wear your yellow Hall of Fame jacket? Because I'm going to say, in comparison to Ricky Jackson, either he has 70 of those or he just uses the same one over and over again, because every time I see him, he's wearing it. Like, every time.
Ricky's doing a great job promoting the Hall, and I don't wear mine quite as much as Ricky, but I don't live in New Orleans right now, so I don't wear mine that often. But, anytime you get that jacket, you want to put it on as much as possible. So, it's great to have it. It's great. I got to wear my ring, and, and when I came to Mr. Benson's funeral, that ring the new ring is kind of full, so it kind of messes my finger up. I don't have a Super Bowl ring, but that's the widest ring I have now. So I'm it's an honor to be there. It's an honor to be in the hall with Ricky, who I got the honor to learn from a lot from my rookie year in the league. And it's funny, he taught me the ropes. And when you got to New Orleans, it was all about city champ. And, we all know the stories of how, Ricky getting in that car wreck and going out there for the fans that don't know. And he got a plate. And I don't know, he got in a car wreck and went to the hospital early in the week, and then he played the game on Sunday. So Ricky was one of the toughest guys there was on the football field. He's a tough man.
Willie, you just mentioned coming to town, I guess a couple of weeks ago for Tom Benson's funeral, and I'm curious, what was that experience like for you, and what are your memories of Mr. Benson?
Mr. Benson was always very nice to everybody. Mr. Benson was always, when we tell stories about any time, if it was off season, whenever it was, if there was something positive written about you, dealing with the team and you doing stuff in the community and positive articles, they would either be in your locker during the season or he would mail them to your house. So he was always there. He lived there. He loved positive things said about the team, his franchise. He wanted you to go out there and earn your money. Mr. Benson was a used car salesman and started as a bookkeeper. You know this, and Mr. Benson wanted the best out of his investment. So if you got paid, he wanted you to go out there and perform. He didn't want you to get paid and then not be out there performing. And he was sitting in those stands in his suite watching you play every week. And he would be on practice, especially late in the week, checking the roster, seeing who was healthy, seeing who was hurt, seeing how long they were out. So he was really a hands-on owner, and that was his baby. That football team he loved more than anything, more than everything he did. I think he loved the Saints, and I think he started going to a lot of basketball games toward the end. He loved the Pelicans. Him and his wife would be in a bunch of games, a bunch of functions, and I mean he loved it, and he loved being around the fans, being around people, and that's why he was so beloved in the city because he was there. He was hands-on. You could touch him. You would see him all the time. So people in New Orleans really appreciate when they can touch you and interact with you and feel a part of it. And I didn't really understand that. A lot of people look at that and say, well, that service was televised and stuff. But then I got back to the hotel and the guys that were working at the hotel, maintenance and stuff, they were so happy that they were able to be a part of it and talked about, Mr. Benson and how much he meant. So, I think he understood that. And like I said, it was great, for what he did in his life, and it was a blessing, and God chose him to get that franchise and take it to a whole nother level, and like I said, it was wonderful working for him. But if anybody can learn something from him, Mr. Benson counted every penny, so that's how he was.
Did you get in that second line afterward, the Jazz funeral procession?
No, I didn't get in the second line. I hadn't eaten, so we left. Me and my wife left, and we got something to eat. But it was as soon as you walked out the St. Louis Cathedral and went left, the second line was starting right there.
I know. I'm surprised you didn't caught up in the wave. I mean, there's so many people going. You had to fight upstream to get out of that thing, I'm betting.
Well, we had buses right there on the side waiting on us, and so, we jumped on those buses, and everybody parked at the Superdome. So we jumped on the buses, and some people went to the after ceremony. The second line went down, and they had a reception, and a lot of us went and got on the bus and went back to the Superdome.
Willie, what keeps you busy these days? What you got going on in your life now that you've been out of football for a while? What are you doing?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I was fortunate to get involved in a company that WR Cameron, my business partner Neil Mason in Vegas, and he showed me a concept of I was waiting we were waiting some guys at the Cosmopolitan at STK Steakhouse, and I had been out with my friend the night before. It was the guy's birthday, so they had a table and we hung out with him. It's nice when you get to hang out and you don't have to spend a lot of money. So I went over there and hung out, and I saw him in the lobby of the restaurant. He showed me the concept of this. A guy that created it in California, Paul Perez, created a helmet that goes on your license plate. And I said that's interesting. And he lived in Newport, and at the time I was living in San Clemente, California. So when I got back to Orange County, we went and met up, and they showed me what they were working on, and I liked what they were doing and got involved, and we came up with all these other ideas with other products that go along with the same theme that go over your license plate, the hat, the baseball, the basketball. So we started a company called Frame Your Game, and now we put everything on hold, but we're on Fanatics and NFL shops. We have like 9 different helmets right now available for fans. If they want to check it out, they can go to frameyourgame.com, or they can go to Fanatics and put it in football and put in football helmet license plate, and they'll see what we have available right now. Right now, it's just a test run for Fanatics, so it's only like 9 helmets available. But we will be relaunching again this fall and at the Hall of Fame, and business is picking up. We're getting a bunch of orders. And when I come back on with y'all in the fall, I'll be telling fans where they can get them. So we're excited about it this year. And with the metal plate, with the NFLPA license, we're able to put the guys. If you lay the printer, you can put those guys' images, or we can put your own image inside those helmets. And some of the big vendors like them as memorabilia pieces, where you can put the players in them and get them autographed, or put them on your wall in your man cave. So we're gearing up for that and working on some other pro licensing, MLB. So yeah, we're excited about it, and we're going to be coming out with some more products. But fans can check us out on frameyourgame.com, or they can go to fanatics.com and put in NFL license plate helmet, and they'll see what we have available right now.
Yeah, I'm already on frameyourgame.com, and you can see the Saints helmet frame is already up there. Widely displayed. It looks like you guys are working with Mark Ingram, Tim Brown, Earl Campbell, Dermontti Dawson, so already a good crew you guys are working with. But, Willie, I wanted to switch gears here because, it's draft season, and, prospects are working their tails off to kind of accomplish where you came from. Look, you go from Louisiana Tech to a top 10 pick, and then you don't stop from there. Your career spans nearly 2 decades, Hall of Fame, all-decade team twice. Just when you went through the draft process, how challenging was that to almost – I know there's tape of you out there, but look, you're coming from Louisiana Tech, not exactly the same pedigree as, say, an Alabama or an Ohio State. How were you able to kind of go through that process and kind of prove, obviously to the Saints and to possibly other teams, that you were worthy of being such a high draft pick?
It's funny, man. Time goes fast. 1993, so 25 years ago, man. It go. And I would tell these young guys, how fast it goes by. But it was, man. It was a very special time in my life. First of all, just getting a scholarship I was happy about that, to go to continue to play football. Not out of kept playing basketball, but, to go from Louisiana Tech, and the guys from Tech, I always hear them tell a story about how they see me, when I was on my recruiting trip in my rookie year, my freshman year, and they were like, is this guy a basketball player? Or, this guy's 225, 30 pounds, soaking wet. When I got to Tech, and real athletic, and only 2 scholarship offers, so, to turn that, and it's funny, me and Teron text, and I was messing with him. So yesterday I sent him you can pull up La Tech versus Auburn 1990 film, and we flip-flopped during the game, but we went to Auburn in my redshirt sophomore year, had a number 2 running back in the nation in 1990, they were ranked number 5, and we had a real good defense. They were ranked real high also, and went up there. Eddie Brown, Antonio Brown's dad was on that team. Bobby Slaughter, Michael Ray Richardson played in Canada for a long time. Eddie Brown was one of the best players ever played in the Arena League. And in my class, we had 4 guys get drafted. And then another guy played for a few years. Baron Rodgers, a good friend of mine, my roommate in college that passed away. A great guy from Winsboro, Louisiana. But we just wanted to compete, and going to Tech, going to independent Division I, we just wanted to compete. And I saw guys getting tryouts, not really getting drafted ahead of us. So when they would come back to Ruston, man, it was like, man, they got a tryout. Guys just getting a chance to play in the NFL. That was big, and everybody thinks they're gonna get a chance. You think you're playing Division I football, but about my redshirt sophomore year, about that year when we went up there and we missed 2 field goals, and they kicked the field goals to beat us. At the end of the game, we were up by 1, and we played in the Independence Bowl. That's when I started noticing, that I was real fast, for a guy that was about 275, real athletic. And I looked around and I said, man, I don't think there's a lot of guys in the college. And I knew there wasn't a lot of guys in the country that were more athletic than me for a 6'5", 280, 290. While I was gaining weight, I was running like a 4.8 and 40. And, I knew that if I kept my head straight and went to class in the fall quarter, which I didn't like doing all the time, that, I went to summer school for a couple of years, but I knew that I didn't think there were guys that were as athletic and could move and strong, and I was blessed. My dad was all-state football and basketball, so, I was going to come out my redshirt junior year, and I stayed in school and went back, and we went 5-6, but I had a real good game against Alabama, and after that, every practice would be scouts just out there. I practice following you around and stuff, and I was like, what is going on out here? And that's when they told me, man, if I got a chance to be a first-round pick. And when I knew I had a chance to be a first-round pick, I wasn't going to let that slip through my fingers, and I went after it. So I started knowing Hokie Gajan was a scout for the Saints, and Hokie Gajan, great man who used to come down and ask Petey about me and talk to me and tell me, if I do what I needed to do, I would be, even after my redshirt freshman year, that I could play in the pros, and I knew it. So, like I said, I kept working, and my line coach, Petey P. Rowe, who played at Northwestern, played for the Saints. At the end of his career, played for Philadelphia most of his career. They all of them told me that Joe Ferguson and all those guys. Steve Ensminger was our coordinator, who's coordinator for LSU now. He was our coordinator, and you guys know when you start winning at smaller schools, you lose your coaches. The big schools come and get them. But I knew I had potential, and I just wanted to get in camp on time. And we were sitting with Jim Moore at the service, and he was telling Angela the story about how he came out from minicamp and saw me lumbering around. They used to call me John Wayne the Duke, because when I got tired or, I started walking funny and stuff. And he said, I didn't know this guy could play. Hell, I said, what do we draft? This guy looks like he's crippled. He told her the story about how I was crippled, and until I started running around. So, and then he said, oh, this guy can move, and he's got some ability. But, it was funny. I was so happy to get drafted close to home, to go to New Orleans and being from Tech. That was a dream come true. They started breaking up the Dome Patrol, but, learning from Sam Mills and Von Johnson, Ricky, Wayne Martin, all those more, Dombrowski, man, we had those vets. And most of them were 10, 12, 11, 12, 13-year vets a lot of them on the team, but this is like really toward their last year in the league, and I learned from those guys. I watched those guys, man, and these kids got to get ready for the draft, keep a humble attitude, work hard. It's a little different. I went to a smaller school, so you have these guys that go to these bigger schools, and they think they're going to come in and just dominating the NFL. And that's a grown man's league, so they just got to stay focused, work hard. If there's some bumps in the road, you gotta stay on the path, man, and learn how to play on that level consistently. You learn how to play, and that's what P.D. Pruitt out in college. Finish your block, finish the job, finish the play. It's always about finishing, and he was hard on me because he knew I had more ability than some of the other guys. So he would be on me and say, Willie, you have more ability than these other guys, so I'm going to be on you harder till I see your potential. So he would be harder on me, which got me ready for the pros my rookie year because he was on me at Tech about finishing and everything and playing hard and having something to prove. So these guys, just get in there and work hard and hope for the best and staying healthy. You can't control everything, but you can control you taking care of your body and playing hard and mentally knowing your plays and learning that type of stuff. But it's going to be it's definitely a big transition from college to the pros, and they play more games now. Even La Tech plays on TV all the time now. So these guys play longer into the year. When I was playing, by the middle of November, the season was over. So the biggest thing for me was finish, after 4 or 5 weeks of training camp, which in college you don't have but like 2. Well, NFL you don't have but 2 now, in either 2 or 3 weeks. But back then my body was so tired because I played every down my rookie year. I would just be sleeping in Joe, the special teams coach. I would go. He had a couch in the old facility, and I would just be laying down. I'd be sleeping at home. My body wasn't used to going through that long a season. So that was the hardest thing for me my rookie year, learning those blitz packages and everything they did in the pros. I didn't see at La Tech, and just adjusting to the length of season, my body was real tired during the course of that year.
Willie Roaf, Pro Football Hall of Famer. Willie, great insight into all of that, and your journey. Wow, it's come a long way, and it is amazing that 25 years ago you were a first-round pick for the Saints. Now you're in the Hall of Fame. Great career, and don't forget, check out FrameYourGame.com. Some cool items there. Get your helmet, license plate. The Saints license plate is already on full display on there, so go to FrameYourGame.com. Willie, appreciate the time. Great catching up with you, and let's definitely catch up down the line as we get closer to the season. Appreciate it, Willie.
Thank you for having me.
All right, you got it. And, of course, you could follow Willie on Twitter at Willie_Roaf. Lots to digest. Gave you his total process. So let's take a break right here on the show. When we get back, we'll reflect a little bit on that interview. Again, come on back. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, the iHeartRadio app. Dunc Holder.